Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ahead at the Apex, unofficially episode 2. I don't know if we'll ever release episode 1. That was a weird recording where we just waffled for about an hour and a bit, tested out these nice microphones that we're using. I am joined...
Creativity Lab.
Yes, thank you, Creativity Lab. That voice you heard was Tim. Say hi, Tim.
Hi, guys.
And I'm Josh. And we are going to talk today, as long as we possibly can, about various bits and pieces going on in the world of F1, Moto GP, and maybe the World Endurance Championship.
Absolutely. We get there. Covering all bases from the major stories in the last few weeks, first weeks of all of those championships.
Yeah, so for context, we've had 2 Formula One Grand Prix weekends, we've had 3 Moto GP Grand Prix weekends, and we've had 1 World Endurance Championship. I don't know if they call it a Grand Prix.
Race.
They just called R1 on their website, which is very disconcerting. You can tell we know a huge amount about WEC, and we're hoping to sound like absolute rookies in that field because I have no experience other than maybe I watch them on every now and then.
Yeah, Le Mans cool.
What I thought was interesting, and we'll get there, is what is and isn't included in that calendar, but we'll get there.
Yes, absolutely. To start with F1, what is going on with Red Bull?
What is going on with Red Bull, Tim? Would you like to give some context?
I'd love to try and provide some clarity. So the former World Constructors Champions, current reigning Drivers' Champions with Max, are, after 2 races, replacing their second driver, Liam Lawson, with Yuki Tsunoda.
Just to interrupt you, they were so confident about Liam Lawson going into this season, right?
Absolutely. Well, they never seemed hesitant.
No.
There was a lot of speculation at the end of last year. Is Yuki going to get the call-up finally after the 4 years he's been racing? Is this his time? He had a pretty consistent season, was on par with Ricciardo, outperforming him in most of the races.
And outperforming Lawson when they sacked Ricciardo.
Lawson. Is this now his time? Red Bull were quite defiant in saying no. Lawson's been with us for a long time. We're confident in where he stands. And we want him to enter the team almost as a complete rookie to the sport, not just within the Red Bull car. And as a result, caught him into taking over from Max.
Yeah, they did that whole test, which was on at Silverstone, which was featured on Drive to Survive. I don't know if you saw that, where they called Max in. I don't know if this is actually how it happened, but they called Max in for the day. He turned up mid-afternoon, did a few laps, and then went home, which is the most Max Verstappen thing, I think.
That's all he needed to
do. Didn't need a warm-up. He doesn't need, he turned up for lunch. He drove a couple of laps in, I don't know if they were allowed to use this year's, the 2024 Red Bull, or if they had to use the 23 Red Bull for private tests. I don't know if that's okay. He did a few laps and then just left, just went home. Wasn't interested in what Liam had to do, just left.
Which, interestingly, as we'll come on to in a second, Max has been quite defensive on behalf of Liam.
He has.
And his feelings about team management seem to be diverging from the happy, clappy team that was so dominant in the last few seasons.
Yeah, I think the nice way to put that is how you just phrased it, but I think the more accurate way is, are Red Bull imploding?
Yes, correct. Right?
That's the big question, because there was the whole drama about Christian Horner last year. There was the whole drama about Jos Verstappen and Helmut Marko not getting on with Christian making decisions when he's not supposed to, Helmut making decisions when he's not supposed to. Helmut has said some things to foreign media outlets. What's the right way to phrase this? Not politically correct.
Yes. And covertly.
Yeah, and he's, in different languages, assuming that Christian might not read the transcript or read the translation of those quotes, but F1 Twitter exists, and that's a beautiful thing. And they lost so many team members last year. A load of them left to go to Mercedes and McLaren, and some went off to be Kick Sauber management, some went off to be Aston Martin design gurus, some went off to Aston Martin to be mechanics at Aston Martin. They lost a lot of senior mechanics and somehow won the Drivers' Championship despite all of that.
And Max is second at the moment.
But
we are getting ahead of ourselves. I think what's important to do is to contextualize this. Is this really an incredibly out of character move for Red Bull? The answer is no.
Short view back to the past.
Exactly.
Is the famous quote. So let's have a look.
So Ricciardo partnered Max in the 2017-2018 season, but middle of then, around August time, he decided to leave the team to move to Renault, fearing his time or opportunity to be the competitive number one driver was over.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been there since 2014, and he was supposed to take over after Webber. He did take over after Webber. He didn't exactly sit behind Vettel in 2014. I think he actually beat him in the championship. Vettel leaves to go to Ferrari. Kvyat's piped in. Kvyat makes it one season and 3 races into 2016, crashes into just about everybody in the field, and then is sacked. Max is airdropped into that Red Bull mid-2016, wins his first race, and then, full seasons 17-18 together.
Yeah. So Daniel then moves. He goes to try and enact Cyril's master plan. At that time, Gasly then moves up from, at the time, Toro Rosso to be Max's teammate. Again, struggled through that season. That was also when Leclerc was brought up from Alfa to Ferrari, and there was the nice comparison between the two of them. When viewing it in that way, Gasly does look to be off the mark in comparison to Leclerc, who went in and matched Vettel.
Well, Leclerc won 2 races in 2019, back-to-back, Monza and Belgium.
Exactly.
Well, the other way around, but yes.
And the famous commentary line is born.
They threw everything at him, something like that?
Yeah, he won in Spa.
Yeah, he wins in Spa and he wins in Monza, something like that, yeah.
Gasly then makes it to the summer break in the middle of the season and is then replaced by Albon. So again, another mid-season, maybe not as aggressive as this one, but another mid-season switch.
But when you actually look at the results, I mean, 1, 2, 3, no top 10 finishes in however many races that is, 11 races?
I know.
3, that's it. And Max is no lower than P5 ever in that time. But this is 2019. Red Bull are not the team taking it to Mercedes. That was Ferrari.
They're the third on the grid.
They're third on the grid. Max is finishing 3rd or 4th fastest car on the grid consistently. 1 win in there, 2 wins in there, and 3 other podiums. So nothing special, right? Nothing that's like, oh my God, Max is going to win the world championship. Red Bull are the greatest team on the grid. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Australia P11, first race out. Bahrain P8, China P6, Spain P6, Monaco P5, Canada P8. I mean, if Red Bull could have that now, they'd be happy.
Laughing. That's what they want.
That's what they're aiming for, actually.
Yeah.
So to then swap halfway through with that context feels strange. Alex then comes in. Similarly, has a good run. I mean, P5 in Spa, P6 in Italy, P6 in Singapore, P5 in Russia, P4 Japan, P5 Mexico, P5. I mean, consistently
besides, top 6.
Exactly. Besides Brazil, where he was P14.
But the Brazil thing was a crash with Hamilton.
Yes.
So not really his fault.
An outlier.
He was actually on board to win that race.
Yeah.
Or at least be second.
Finished very strongly.
He was on for his first podium.
His best race result.
And Hamilton did his usual left wheel up the inside of a Red Bull, pipped him off the track.
Yeah.
And so up until then, Gasly coming in is exactly the Red Bull Junior program working as intended, right? the senior driver leaves, which was Ricciardo, and he's replaced with the most senior driver at the junior team. Gasly's in his second or third season maximum, and brought in and not even given a full season.
No.
Right? Albon's brought in at the end of that season in his first season in Formula One and expected to perform. But they did give him some leniency, right? Because they left him in the next year as well.
They did. And again, was relatively comparable. Well, not comparable to Max, but comparable to his previous season. Didn't have a great first race, P13. But from then on, P4,
but
P5,
Max retired
P8.
from that race.
Yes. Yeah.
So, beat Max.
Indeed. On the road?
Beat Max on the road. And that was, that was Red Bull's back door, Austria. But Styria the next week, the same track. This was that weird season where they did 2 races at multiple Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Finished right behind Max in 4th. Max on the podium, finished 4th. And this was the W11 Mercedes year where that car was just like on rails and they were running DAS and they had all the fancy aero bits and it was the ultimate Mercedes car.
Yeah.
So for Max and Alex to finish 3rd and 4th, exactly what they're supposed to do.
Correct. And yeah, again, besides a P15 in Italy, another retirement and a P15 in Imola, I think it was, then he was pretty consistently within the top 8 through that year.
Points every race apart from 5, because he retired it in at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, and again, this is his first full season in F1.
This is his second first season.
Full season,
because he was at AlphaTauri in 2019.
Ah, of course, yeah. So again, a relatively decent performance, but I think primarily his qualifying performances were his downfall.
Yeah, and that was the same for Gasly. Both of them struggled in quali, which meant they had a huge amount to do in the race.
Yeah.
Gasly maybe a little bit more desperate to prove himself than Alex.
Yeah.
Took a few more risks, had a few more incidents. But I don't think Albon's points total that year reflects his performance, right? I mean, I have it as 105 to Max's 214. But the way the point systems are graded, if you finish 6th consistently and your teammates finishing 3rd consistently, by the end of the season, they're going to have double the points of you, at least. So not a huge deal, but Red Bull felt that was it.
That was it. Perez then comes in following his
Sakia Grand Prix masterclass where he's back of the grid after the end of lap 1, wins the race. Should be noted, Lewis Hamilton was not competing in that Mercedes.
Yeah, Russell was there and
Bottas was off the pace.
And they bottled his tyres.
And Russell should have won that race, his first race in Mercedes. They bottled the tyres. They let Russell and Bottas fight. Ferrari were nowhere, and I believe, was Max out? Yeah, Max was out. So realistically, there was nobody winning that race. It was a free-for-all.
It was, but nonetheless, stepped up to take it.
Yeah.
Which was important. He then gets the Red Bull drive and is pretty instrumental in the 21 defense against Hamilton.
The races that stand out for me are Turkey.
Yep.
Where Lewis tries to push him into the pit lane. You seen that? And he manages to stick it up the inside of him in turn 1 and keep him behind.
Yeah.
That's the one that sticks out for me. Also, Abu Dhabi 21, obviously, the whole Perez is a legend, Sergio's a legend quote where they just left him out. And I think all Sergio had to do was play the team game that year.
Yeah, correct.
Max and Lewis were so far ahead of everybody. Even from the first race in Bahrain, they were 40 seconds ahead of everybody else. And even then, Bottas and Perez were a further 10 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. So Max and Lewis were really in a school of their own.
Absolutely. So Red Bull, happy with him.
Happy.
Coming out of 21, Perez is our guy. We found him. These troubles have ended.
This is the guy. He brings money. He brings consistency. He's not binning it in a wall every week. He's there when we need him. He's not interested in putting a challenge on Max.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, agreed. 22, 2 race wins. This is when he starts trying to put a challenge together.
Yes.
The Monaco incident comes to mind.
Yep, the Monaco and the Brazil
purpose?
incident where Max thinks that Checo's done that on purpose and then doesn't let him back through in Brazil, that whole thing.
Exactly.
Is Checo a
The
threat?
first cracks in the Red Bull synergy.
You might say. But then 2013 comes and they win every race bar one.
23.
23, sorry.
Agreed. And Max kills it.
Perez is somewhere close at the start of the
Checo
season.
starts off strong.
Do you remember Saudi Arabia that year?
Yes.
Where they were just knocking 10 bells out of each other and they were miles ahead of the rest of the field.
Yeah.
Yeah. Compare that to the end of the season where Perez can't make it out of Q1.
I know.
How does that make sense?
Big decrease in confidence, primarily, I think. He slips and just can never regain his footing.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time on a train yesterday watching old podcasts and YouTube videos about Sergio Perez's performance at the end of that season because I had forgot just how bad it was. I looked at this results on various F1 pages and thought, yeah, it wasn't that bad. I mean, I remember it being worse than that. No, I mean, he was crashing into the side of people. There was the whole Japanese Grand Prix of 23 incident where he nearly crashes into Max. He crashes at the start of the Grand Prix, has to come in for a front wing, then tries to overtake Alonso under the safety car, gets a 5-second. Then he crashes into the side of one of the Haas cars. Then he retires the car, but still has the 5-second penalty. So they send him back out. And while he's back out, he gets in the way of Max, who's leading the race. That whole embarrassment. And I'd forgotten just how bad those races where it was bad were because they were terrible.
Yeah. It was tough. And then 24, it just gets worse.
It gets worse. And nobody understands why Perez is still there.
He did start strongly. He recovered a bit at the beginning of the year.
He did, but he always has a good start to the year.
He does. And then similar story, performance drops off. He's causing quite a lot of damage. It was estimated about 5 million euros.
Which is not insignificant in a cost cap, right?
Exactly. With the cost cap being brought in, suddenly development is sacrificed to rebuild machinery. It's not what they need a number 2 who's there to either pick up the scraps, as he did so brilliantly in Baku, for example, when Max's tire blew, and also just finish consistently in the top 6,
just
top
get
5.
points. Because that year they lost the Constructors' Championship to McLaren, who came out of nowhere, really. I mean, everybody says, they came from last in 23 to first in 24. There was a whole winter development phase in there that people conveniently forget.
Yeah.
But they were middle of the top 10 to the back end of the top 10 at the start of 24.
Yeah.
And because Perez was nowhere, they were able to win the Constructors' Championship, and Lando nearly won the Drivers' Championship. I mean, I say nearly. Max did win it before the end of the season, but there was a chance.
There was a charge.
Yeah.
Toward the end.
Yeah.
So Perez goes.
Lawson.
In a pretty nasty way. There's a big settlement, again, a big cash payout.
Huge cash payout from what I understand.
Bull.
And he's still an ambassador for Red Bull.
Yeah, so he's still, it was not ended cleanly.
No.
Problems continue. Then Lawson comes in for this year, qualifies in 18th in Australia, and
just
then
not good enough, is it?
Qualified last in China.
In both qualifying sessions for China, he was last. Could not give an answer as to why. Said he couldn't get the tyres in the right place in the sprint qualifying, but couldn't give an answer as to why he couldn't get the tyres in the right place. And he himself was the one who came in and said, it is my job to get on top of the car.
Absolutely.
And just didn't.
Doesn't finish in Australia, though a challenging race.
A lot of people, a lot of rookies didn't finish.
And a lot of Alonso didn't
finish. Yeah, a lot of experienced drivers didn't finish either. Liam has done 11 Grand Prix previously before this season. So not really a rookie, but is considered to be a rookie because he's not done a full season.
Yeah. And then
opinions on Liam Lawson being the one who broke the news about Ricciardo in Singapore? Is it worth mentioning?
No, I think that's all gossip. It's potentially, his team leaked the information in advance.
During the race, while Ricciardo was on track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not polite. He has been reported saying he's not here to make friends. Is that an admission? We don't know. But nonetheless, not
the way you would want to come into F1, right?
Exactly.
Especially when you see how Max and Charles and Lando and Oscar and George, Alex, all of those guys who came up from karting together, when you see how they are together, coming in and saying, I'm not here to make friends there's 20 of them.
Yeah.
Right, that's it. There's 20 people.
And you go to dinner and
in the world who experience and understand the things that you experience and understand, because they're the only 20 people who can experience those things.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's hard to empathize with these guys. You need some sort of peer system.
You do need a peer system.
Definitely. So that is a quick rundown from 2017 to present. Yuki comes in, being announced on the 27th of March that Lawson out, Yuki in, Lawson to move to Racing Bulls, which is, in Helmut Marko's words, not a demotion.
It's not.
Transition.
Is he on the same salary?
Maybe. I don't know.
So as far as I understand, this tie with Racing Bulls or Toro Rosso or AlphaTauri or whatever branding they're currently going with has always been that if you are a Red Bull driver, you are a driver for Red Bull. You are not a driver for the Red Bull F1 team.
Yes.
Which means in principle, anybody who races anything for Red Bull could be drafted in at any time, because it's well within their contracts that they can be moved around. So that could be junior drivers, that could be drivers from different categories, AlphaTauri, Racing Bulls, or Red Bull, the main team. They can just move them around freely, right? That's my understanding of that.
Yeah. They appear as, or they appear to have the mentality that it is a different team.
Yes, they operate as a different team, but contractually speaking, they're the same team.
Yes. It's also worth noting that the context of this move and the timing of this move is very interesting too. Supposedly, Honda have been in touch and offering significant sums, something around $10 million is the reported figure, that if he was in the car for Japan or before Japan.
Yeah. So it's my understanding they've been offering this money since the start of 24 to Red Bull.
Yeah. Red Bull then obviously missed the deadline for the pre-Japan.
Apparently so.
Last year.
Yeah.
The other thing that's worth, I think, discussing is Max's position here.
Okay.
Because he is been reported to be, to be developing quite a displeasure with the senior management about this decision, potentially fueled by a few of the disagreements in previous years. But also, I think it's incredibly interesting to hear about Marco's insistence on the Constructors' Championship. One of his quoted reasons for the move is to say that we need both cars finishing consistently in the points in order to win the Constructors' Championship. Very true.
Yeah.
But Red Bull have never been minded to the Constructors' Championship.
No, they couldn't care less. That was my understanding. That's what's been always told over the broadcast, at least in the UK, that Red Bull could not care less about the Constructors' Championship because they care about two things: glory and selling cans of Red Bull.
Exactly. They are a driver's team because it is an efficient way to have Max as the winning driver in order to push those objectives. Same way with Ferrari, right? That's always been their mentality. We don't have a marketing budget because if the red car is at the front, people are going to want to buy the red car.
Correct.
And that makes sense. So this change in mentality from the Red Bull management is definitely interesting. And I wonder how that's going to change.
And if you look at Red Bull externally from F1, so if you look at them doing crazy things on bikes or the Dakar Rally or driving across the desert, or even when they sent Felix up and jumped him out of space. It's not ever about the production or the team or the people who make it happen. It's about the guy or the girl or the whoever doing that thing.
It's the superhero.
It's the superhero doing the thing, right? So Max breaking all those records in 2023, it's the Super Max breaking all of the records.
Yes.
It's not that they won the Constructors.
No, and no one discusses that, even now. They don't discuss that.
No.
So this pivot, I find
bizarre.
Is bizarre. It is, their mentality has always been, let's do something epic. They'll associate that with the Red Bull
brand
and product. And then, therefore, people who are a bit more adventurous and thrill seekers will buy Red Bull because of that.
Yep.
That's always been the model. That model is changing. It's interesting to see that it's less about the individual. Maybe this is a response to pressures on Max potentially looking elsewhere for a drive, as I'm sure we will come to it.
Potentially.
Shortly.
I mean, we briefly mentioned it in the maybe forever unreleased episode 1 that McLaren offered him a load of money and he said, well, it's going to be, you can't afford it. Just lastly on Red Bull, Ricciardo, thoughts?
It's an opportunity. I think, considering they have now a reference between Yuki and Ricciardo, which was there or thereabouts, overall probably in Yuki's favor.
Yeah.
It nonetheless opens up a chance for a Ricciardo return. Though I know he's very excited about his new sparkling wine.
I'm sure he's very excited about his new sparkling wine. I'm sure he'd be able to sell lots of it if he was driving for Red Bull.
Yes. So, an interesting question. I don't know if it's necessarily Ricciardo will replace Yuki. I think that would be disruptive to the wider team. But I think if Max moves, who fills that spot? Red Bull have burnt through their drivers.
Yeah, they're not going to put Hadjar in that Red Bull as the lead driver or have Yuki as the lead driver with Hadjar next to him.
No.
I don't see them putting Lawson back in for at least 2 years because that's how they were with Gasly. They weren't going to put Gasly in for 2 years.
Despite his successes.
Despite winning the Italian
Monza
Grand Prix the next year. Yeah. So
So
I think Lawson gets bored sitting at Racing Bulls, goes somewhere else, follows the Gasly track. Red Bull dream is over.
Rebuilds it in a different team.
Yuki either has great success at Red Bull or moves to Aston Martin when they become Honda.
Yeah, a lot. But nonetheless, all of this points towards, as we said at the beginning, a slightly imploding Red Bull team.
A slightly imploding Red Bull team. Should we talk about another team that's slightly imploding?
Yes.
So for those who don't know, Tim and I are both enormous Ferrari fans. And I was thinking about this. I can't picture me as a fan of anybody else.
Though we are impartial in this setting, of course.
I can't think of me as a fan of anybody else in any alternate universe. I think all alternate Joshes are Ferrari fans. It just has to be.
The multiverse is consistent in one thing.
So Ferrari, it's weird to watch Ferrari. It's a weird.
Simply put, they are in the most unexpected position of any team or any driver, I would argue.
At all times.
This year. I think Lawson is the only other one that is underperforming. But
yeah,
Ferrari,
okay, so
everyone expected Ferrari's going to be a close second. And they are currently
let's do a short view back to the past with Ferrari as well. We did it with Red Bull. So 2019, Ferrari have a questionable engine. I think that's fair to say.
A Ferrari tactically dodged the testing apparatus.
They bring in rookie Charles Leclerc. Well, not rookie, but he'd only really raced at Alfa Romeo Sauber for a year or so. alongside Vettel, who is on the way out. The fight with Mercedes has killed the fire that was once there.
And he is slowly becoming frustrated with Ferrari themselves.
So end of 2020, they are, after they're punished for their transgressions the year before, Vettel leaves, they bring in Sainz. Arguably, the best driver lineup on the grid in 2021.
Yep.
Even more so, like having Max and Lewis in your team, having Charles and Sainz in a team that's rebuilding. Everybody had a similar thought at the same time of this is going to be the team to beat when the new regs come in, right? Because you've got these two young drivers, immense speed. They just need to learn how to control it in a car that, in a team that can win championships and can turn this around in a short space of time.
Yep.
22 rolls around and it is Charles Leclerc versus Max Verstappen for most of that year. And everybody's thinking, yeah, Ferrari are back. This is it. Here we go. Didn't come through. There were some mistakes, both from Ferrari and from Charles.
I think France was the
real killer that year. 23 comes round. Nobody's touching that Red Bull. Ferrari is sort of there, sort of not there.
They were the second team.
They were the second team, but there was quite some distance. And I think it's unfair to say, oh, they were the second team easily. They just were the only other team who got it right in 22.
Yes.
So they just carried that forward.
Mercedes moved in a slightly radical direction that didn't pay off.
And McLaren were on the rebuild.
Correct.
Aston Martin were kind of there at the start of the season, but as we've seen historically, their progression through the season just gets worse. So Ferrari caught. They don't progress through the season. 2024, it's announced before the season even begins that Lewis Hamilton is joining the team. Sainz is fuming, inwardly fuming.
Yeah, Sainz holds a strong face.
He holds a positive attitude.
Yeah.
I remember. Do you remember Ollie Behrman coming in Saudi Arabia last year?
Yeah, P7.
P7, beating Hamilton.
Yeah.
And everybody going, did Ferrari sign the right driver?
Yeah.
Yeah. What if?
Oh, I know.
So 2025 rolls around and everybody is hyped for a 7-time world champion back at Ferrari.
Yeah.
That hasn't happened since 2005. It's a big deal. Whether you love him or hate him, it's a big deal. Could it have gone worse? Yeah, probably.
Yes, it could have gone worse. I think we're being harsh because, or it's the way it's being reported is relatively harsh because the expectation was set that they are going to be third and fourth on the road to McLaren with Red Bull struggles. So Australia, Leclerc comes 8th, Hamilton 10th. Difficulty in the race, as we've spoken about before. The weather was bad, and Ferrari gambled on tyres, didn't come off, but ultimately they had a lack of pace. I think even if the tyre strategy worked, they would have probably finished higher on the road than they ought to have in terms of the performance of the cars. China, with the sprint race, Hamilton wins, though the qualifying on pole, winning from pole, that sprint quali was obviously somewhat
I think a lot of teams got it wrong.
McLaren notably were the ones that got it wrong and opened the door up for Hamilton to step in.
And what we saw was Hamilton back in tyre management mode. And that's what ultimately won in that race.
Correct.
I think people were annoyed at Australia because historically Ferrari have won in Australia in this turbo hybrid era.
Yep, Sainz with his win
last year. Leclerc, did Leclerc win in 22?
No.
Who won in 22? I'm sure Leclerc won one year. Yeah, Leclerc won in 22. My memory's good.
I apologise.
Obviously, they didn't win in 21 or 20. But historically, Ferrari have always gone well.
Because Leclerc won the first few races of that year, and everyone said
Everybody said this is it. Yeah. And I remember getting up, 10 years ago and watching Vettel win in Melbourne consistently. So Ferrari have always done well in Melbourne and usually surprised everybody at the start of the season. So to finish out at the back end of the points after that strategy blunder, not good.
Yeah.
Particularly when they were 1-2 at one point and could have won the race.
Yes. Yeah. China, the sprint, I think, was a boost, though in a compromised environment from the other teams, potentially messing up quali. Hamilton and Leclerc line up 5th and 6th for the race, but Leclerc sustained some damage on his front wing very early on. Very
lucky not to take them both out. We've seen punctures like that before. We've seen cars go over the back of other cars like that before. He's a lucky boy not to have taken his teammate out. In hindsight, it wouldn't have made a difference, but...
In hindsight, yes. The hindsight we are referring to is the disqualification of both cars.
Yeah, who finished 5th and 6th in the race, other way around. And we're close to putting a challenge on Max.
Yeah, we're setting up for it. So again, positive movements, but nonetheless, no points scored because of the disqualifications. Leclerc's was a weight issue, so they replaced the front wing, and
which they're allowed to do.
They are, and he was a kilo underweight, and Ferrari blamed the change to the one stop.
Yeah, much like Mercedes last year in Belgium, they pointed the finger at the extended tire strategy. Normally when they do the weights of the cars, they do it so that they have X amount of tire tread left on the tires. They weigh them like that, and then that they know how much that's going to be. I don't quite know how they figure that out.
No.
Maybe during practice they look and see what the tire wear's like and weigh the tires and so on and so on.
And of course, in that Spa race, because the lap is so long, we don't have the cool down lap, and everyone was talking about, oh, he didn't pick up marbles, and that was the cause.
Yeah, because they come in at the top end of the pit lane. They come back down the pit lane.
Yeah.
So you only have the marbles at turn 1 from which to pick. But one might argue being the lead car gives you first pick of the marbles.
Anyway, Russell Belgium 2024.
But we've seen it. But we have
seen it before.
We've seen it before.
So Leclerc's out. Hamilton disqualified for a rear skid block wear issue, as he was in Austin while at Mercedes.
Yep. Leclerc was also disqualified for that.
For the
same race.
Yeah. So they measured it twice. One 8.6, one 8.5 mil, both below the required 9 mil.
I've been an advocate in the past that both Leclerc and Hamilton should have been disqualified from the entire race weekend in Austin. Because during that time, you couldn't make setup changes between
sprint and the race.
quali and the race, because it was quali, sprint, race.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah, something like that. Or sprint, race. It was sprint day.
Sprint day.
It's just wild.
Yeah, it's in a better place now.
So, yeah, it is, yeah. So you couldn't make setup changes. So if Hamilton and Leclerc were low then, they were low throughout the entire weekend.
Yes.
Right? And low is an advantage. Too low is punished. Therefore, if you're too low in one race, you're too low in all of the races.
Yes.
But this time's different.
This time is different because they do lift Parc Fermé but after the sprint.
Yeah.
Before the race quali.
Yeah. So they may have made setup changes.
They can't contest the sprint.
The sprint stands.
But the race, nonetheless, is lost for them both.
It is.
Now, there is a question. Could Leclerc have been disqualified twice?
So this comes... I put this in the notes because I have seen a wonderful content creator who asked this question, and it got me thinking that, yes, absolutely, he could have been disqualified twice. There is no reason to think that Leclerc's car and Hamilton's car were that different. They qualified next to each other. They finished next to each other. They raced the entire race next to each other. Yep. Okay, there's probably a difference on turn-in and rear stability, but they're wings.
Yeah.
Physically, I don't think the cars would have been that different. So they do the weight check first.
Yes.
That's the first thing that they do.
And they then just discard the rest, or they may discard the rest because they've been disqualified.
So I could not find anywhere. I know F1 Twitter thinks differently, but I couldn't find anywhere that showed me which cars were tested and for what. But the FIA have like 4 garages at the top end of the pit lane. They have a weighbridge there, and then they have the 4 inspection garages. So all the cars come in, apart from the podium cars, and they park in Parc Ferme, and the drivers walk away and they leave it. They get weighed. They roll the cars over, and they do a visual inspection, and then they decide from random who is going to be inspected. That's my understanding. So they don't inspect all 20 cars. They inspect.
They do a sample.
Yeah, they do a sample. They inspect the top 3. The top 3 are scrutinized to all hell. I think Hamilton's car was chosen because he won the sprint. And I think I saw somewhere that they also checked the other Alpine because Gasly was also disqualified for a weight issue. It's just efficiency. They can't be expected to test all 20 cars.
Especially with the increase in the number of triple headers. They've got to move the cars quickly. They've got to move all the kit.
And they have FIA people in the garages at all times checking them throughout the weekend. So they have a feel for which teams might have an advantage. So if a team's performance is particularly bigger than it was at the last race weekend, they're probably going to look at that car. If a team has brought an upgrade, which they now have to parade around in the pit lane on Thursday, which is just weird, they're probably going to inspect that car too, right? So did they just roll Leclerc's car over the weighbridge, get Ferrari to replace the front wing, take the fuel sample, roll it back over the weighbridge, and then go disqualified?
Oh, well, yeah, maybe. We don't know, but it's an interesting question, and it would be nice to understand, because are you double penalized for double disqualification?
It's a fair point.
It is a fair point.
It's a fair point, because he could have interfered with that race more than he did.
Knowing he would
get disqualified, right? What's to stop him running an immensely light car, pipping Max off the road so that Lewis can run a heavy car and a high up car and just take a podium place?
Yeah.
Cause some chaos. He didn't, and neither did Lewis, but
the option,
the two of them getting through to qualifying into the top 10 did displace 2 other drivers who were then not able to get into the top 10 and maybe could have qualified well in Q3.
Yes.
And then had a better start on Sunday and maybe finished higher.
Yes.
So it's highly possible that those two running legally could have had a different outcome on the race.
It's an interesting question, definitely. And I think as more people talk about it, we'll hear something from.
I'm sure. I don't think they'll ever double disqualify somebody and
ban them from scoring the weekend after or something.
Yeah, I don't think that will ever happen. I don't think you can have that happen because
but they can find the teams. And
they can
again,
find the teams.
In the cost cap era, that is a powerful tool.
It is. Okay,
I think Ferrari have taken their beating.
Ferrari have taken their beating. I feel emotionally drained from beating my my one love of in this sport. And let's move on, please.
Let's move on. Aston Martin.
I saw this yesterday.
Yeah,
this broke yesterday.
This is the breaking story. As of the 31st of March, Aston are planning on selling their stake within the F1 team to return as simply a sponsor entity.
My understanding is much like the Red Bull deal when it was Red Bull Aston Martin for a while. Aston Martin were working with them on the powertrains. They were working with them in the wind tunnel. They were working with them as a unit, as a whole. They then pulled out of Red Bull and just stuck a sticker on the back of the car for a while.
Yeah.
I remember it used to be on the rear wing when they were a title sponsor, and then it just became a small little badge that was then eventually replaced with Honda.
It was. So for some numbers, when Aston Martin merged with Racing Point, Lawrence Stroll acquired a 16% stake in the in the Aston Martin F1 team. This stake, in Aston Martin as a company.
So he acquired the Aston Martin stake and then brought Aston in as a manufacturer for Formula One.
Yes.
Much like Toto.
Exactly. As that share has now increased to around a third.
Yes.
So he's doubled.
He's acquired more
of Aston. So he is...
He's Mr. Aston.
In.
I don't know if that's a majority stake, actually.
No, I don't know. I don't know the makeup of their board, or their holders. But yeah, so the Aston Martin name will stay in F1, but they themselves are not going to have any financial stake within the team.
They're selling 74 million pounds because they're a British company, so it's in pounds.
Indeed.
Which is a minority stake in the team. So Stroll owns the majority stake in that team.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's buying it from them and it'll just be the Lawrence Stroll team. I hope not.
Well, this shows two things, I think. Firstly, Aston Martin still wants to be in and around the sport.
Yep.
They made a big deal about their return and
they've put a huge investment into Silverstone, to the compound at Silverstone. Huge.
Massive. But only as in a sponsor's capacity. Also, with Lawrence putting his stake in the ground,
he's clearly committed.
He is very committed. Does this mean that Lance is going to be around? And as a result, some of these transfers that we were discussing, potentially Yuki into Aston, potentially might be jeopardized.
Yeah.
That being said, it's going to offer an interesting challenge if Stroll is off the pace with all of this investment. Can they be taken as a serious contending team? That being said, at the current stage, he's performing well.
It's the classic Lance Stroll question, right? So Mercedes and Aston Martin are a joint brand. They are they're shared by whatever board run Mercedes. So Aston Martin Formula One team are moving to Honda engines next year. That's my understanding of the situation, which means Mercedes probably aren't that interested in having their name or one of their subsidiaries plastered all over the side of a different manufacturer, which is fair. I think that's a fair comment.
Yeah, I agree.
So with Aston taking a step into the World Endurance Championship and therefore some of the other great racing competitions on the planet, I think it's a fair thing for them to say, look, if you're going to stick Honda engines in there, we're not going to be involved.
Yes.
We will stick our name on the side. Yeah, we'll stick our name on the side and you can still run in British Racing Green if that's what you want, and you can still use the facilities that we helped pay for. But we don't want to be associated with that.
No.
So that's fine. Are Honda going to buy the minority stake? Probably not. Honda have this weird relationship with Formula One where they don't want to be involved, they do want to be involved, they don't want to be involved, they do. It makes no sense. They used to run a team that left a long time ago that became Mercedes. Is Lawrence going to buy that minority stake, and then is he just going to go, well, now I've put so much money in this team, I need it to do well. It's not doing well. Why is it not doing well? I can't see Fernando getting sacked before the end of his contract, which I think is next year, the end of next year. I can't see him wanting to leave if Newey gives him a good car.
No.
Newey also is associated with Aston Martin, so he designed their hypercar, road car, and the hypercar in the World Endurance Championship, as far as I understand. He's got a big tie with Aston Martin. So this comes quite surprisingly for all of them, I think.
Yeah. So, as we said, breaking story as of yesterday. We'll hear more about it in the coming days.
Yeah.
But it, again, really brings to the forefront the intricacy and interconnectivity of management within the sport and how it affects what happens on track.
Yeah. And it should be noted, Lance Stroll is doing a great job this year.
He is.
There is no Lance Stroll slander yet.
No, P8 currently in the championship, joint P7. He has the same number of points as Ocon, who's in P7. So
Ocon in P7. That's insane.
So speaking of, we'll do a quick rundown of the championship. It's not surprising there is little to no interest as of now, 2 races into a 24 race season. It's no surprise McLaren are in the strongest position, as everyone expected them to be. It's interesting to hear that Lando and Oscar have both commented on a potentially inter-team drivers' championship battle. Lando saying he is, quote, nervous but excited for that fight. Wow. And both drivers having spoken about their comparative strength. Norris noting that understeer was the main inhibiting factor in China, which Oscar
I would have
to
put his
have
bad
dealt much
start
better.
down to his problems in China.
I know, but that's well documented, and I'm sure he doesn't want to admit to that. Stella is said to be delivering fair leadership amongst the two, allowing opportunity with no preference. They are just going to race for a bit. He seems to be deflecting as well from the praise offered by other teams and drivers, notably George Russell saying that they ought to win every race this year.
Oh, George, don't say that. That's exactly what Lando said. And now Lando is getting it all back.
I know.
That is not the thing you say. So this is the quote in reference to Lewis Hamilton. I can't remember the exact question that the interviewer said, but Lando responded with, well, he should be winning every race.
He's in the best
He's
car.
in the best car.
Yeah. So Stella said, we're ignoring it. The quote is, distractions that we will not take.
Interesting.
So he seems to be providing a needed air of stability.
Historically, how well has it gone when teams have let their drivers race for the World Championship?
Not well. I wonder at what point in the season they will enact
team
a
orders.
preference. I'm sure it will come. At what point is yet to be identified. Ferrari are the notable outliers, as we've spoken about before. The leaving driver, or the driver that left, Carlos Sainz's lone point, presents an interesting position. As someone that has done a pretty consistent job in many different teams, the 15-point gap to his teammate after 2 races is unexpected. Is this more to Alex's credit than it is to Carlos's failings? Not sure. I think we'll let the law of larger numbers play out, and we'll see.
Yeah, it's hard to tell yet. I mean, Alex has had 2 strong races. Carlos had a very unlucky incident in Australia. Should he have had that incident? Probably not. Do I buy the reason?
The torque
spike. I don't buy that as a reason, but I can believe there are engine modes that are uncomfortable. So I don't think it was a torque spike, but I can believe that he was messing around with engine modes and dropped it. Yeah. And you're so not paying attention at that point, right? You sort of you probably go into sort of a rest mode of like, right, just need to keep the tires in place, reset my mind.
Safety car.
So you're probably not aware. And we've seen weird incidents under the safety car before. That's
Grosjean putting against the wall is always the one that I think.
No, that was Ericsson's fault.
Obviously.
China wasn't lucky. Had to make a pit stop during the sprint race. Nobody made a pit stop during the sprint race.
You shouldn't be
making a pit stop during the sprint race, which put him on the back foot for the race because he didn't have an extra set of tires to use in the race. It's just unlucky. I think it's just unlucky, honestly. I can't see Williams getting rid of Sainz anytime soon.
No. I think it's the start. We'll see how it plays out over the season. I'm sure it will all average itself out.
Yeah.
The other really notable placement is Kimi Antonelli, the rookie, who we've not spoken about in great depth, but is currently sat P5.
That is pretty good.
Far beyond the expectation of the bookies, and leaving his Monza test crash, which everyone looked at and cringed at, far behind.
So was he the only rookie to finish the Australian Grand Prix?
He was.
Interesting. And he finished it where? Oh, I'm testing you now.
I think it was 6 or something.
Fourth. He finished behind George.
Yeah. Oh, of course. You know, the
classic.
George Russell's
Yeah.
forever failing of no matter where you qualify.
Yeah. And in China,
finish with your teammate.
I think China was 6th after this disqualification. 6th or 7th is a hard word to say. There we go. 6th or 7th.
But nonetheless, consistent points. He's in P5 right now, behind Lando, Max, George, and Oscar.
Yeah.
Which is
it's tight there, isn't it?
dead
2, 3,
where you
4 is
expect.
tight. 2 points between them.
Yes. So, hats off to Kimi.
Yeah.
When looking at the standings, it was very interesting and quite funny, I thought, that there are currently only 19 drivers listed on that.
Interesting.
The missing is Alonso. He didn't finish either of the main Grand Prix, so was not yet classified. He did finish the sprint, but for some reason, I suspect that if you don't finish the sprint with points, they just don't count it for some reason. So Alonso is yet to enter this year's championship, but is still fighting. I was trying to get a comparison between Stroll and
So thinking about that,
Alonso.
does that mean so if drivers finish with equal points at the end of the season, the way they do count back is on highest number of highest positions. So if both drivers have the same number of P5s, P6s, P7s, it eventually goes down to P8. How many drivers have, which driver has the most P8, for instance? Does that mean that the sprint places don't count if you're not in the top 8? So
Maybe.
if a driver, if
how it
two
would appear.
drivers had the exact same number of
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
1, 2,
6, 7.
all the way down to 20th, then would it go to qualifying positions?
Yes.
If they had the same number of qualifying positions in the same places, what would they do at that point? I guess they just
Fastest
haven't.
lap?
Maybe, but I guess they just haven't thought that far.
I
the
think it's so unlikely.
The chances of that happening
there.
are so small that I don't think it would ever happen. But, imagine if it did.
It did. The last point on this championship, or in this series that we want to make, links us brilliantly into the Moto GP and the bikes, is that where Red Bull sit, so currently Max in P2 and Lawson / Yuki sat joint P, however many people don't have points. Are they putting themselves in a position that if they lose Max, the team is going to fall apart? Similar to the Marc Marquez Honda HRC.
Yeah,
problem.
so I think it's worth noting that both Max and Mark are generational talents, right? Both of them. And that's not to say that other drivers / riders are also generational talents, but those two are. And because they are, both of those teams have been built around that person.
Yes.
And that becomes a problem only when that person can deal with something which is fast but not easy.
Correct.
And when something is fast but not easy, the teammate suffers. And then if that person leaves, the team has gone down an avenue that nobody can deal with. And we saw this with Honda. So Mark left Honda, I think, at the end of 22. I think. He was injured for a long time. Around that. And Honda just dropped to the back of the field. And it's taken them a good 2 years to get anywhere close to competing with Yamaha, never mind the Ducatis and the KTMs. If Red Bull do that, Max has said, 2028, I'm done. I'm out. See you later. And he's about to have a kid. We know that that's changed drivers in the past. We know that drivers
He's going to step on the brakes because he's got a wife and kids at home.
We know drivers like Alonso and Hamilton don't have wives and kids at home, and they're still going.
Yeah.
Alonso is famously quoted as saying when he overtook Schumacher at 130R, I knew he was stunned on the brakes. He's got a wife and kids at home. It must affect them. It must.
Yeah.
And we've seen drivers like Button and Magnussen recently retire from Formula One to go and spend time with their families.
Yeah. In series that are less
fewer
races.
Much more sporadic.
More sporadic, yeah.
So, Max leaving Red Bull could be the end of Red Bull.
Yeah. So they do need to get this problem under control. I think it was obviously best communicated by Alex in his...
I love that interview so much.
It's fantastic. I think he does such a clear job of explaining what it is that makes it hard. And if the one person that can control it goes...
leaves. If Max weren't in Red Bull this year and it was somebody else, and we assume that's somebody else...
Let's assume it was Yuki and Lawson.
Let's assume it was Yuki and Lawson, right? They would have probably no points. I think that's fair to say.
A handful, yeah.
Maybe Yuki finishes P8, P9 in Australia. Maybe. Based on experience alone. Just maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't see it being any more than that.
No, and I think that will, that claim will be tested over the next few weeks when Yuki steps into that seat. But it is an interesting position.
Which would put them below Racing Bulls.
Yes, which Marco did tease to say Max might move, not be demoted, but move
to Racing Bulls
to finish the season if their package is more
for a better chance. Okay, let's move on to bikes. Because today's Tuesday, Sunday was the Circuit of the Americas Grand Prix, or the Americas Grand Prix, as Moto GP call it, not the Circuit of the Americas, not the American Grand Prix. This is the Grand Prix of the Americas, which statistically has been Marc Marquez's second best track of all time. So he has 2 Grand Prix tracks with 7 race wins and 1 with 11, which is Germany. Everybody has expected him to win at the weekend. He's on form. He's undefeated in 2025. He's coming to a track where he's relatively undefeated as well. Everybody expected it. He put it on pole. He won the sprint. He had a little bit of a big moment in the sprint. So I don't know. It's turn 18. I don't know if that means anything to you. But you come down the long back straight.
Yeah.
Hard on the brakes, hairpin. There's a couple of windy corners. And then there's that big open right-handed corner.
Yeah.
That's turn 18.
Yep.
So coming around turn 18 at the opening lap of the sprint, the bike kicks him inwards towards the corner. So his left leg comes off the peg and he has to let go of the throttle, bring the bike back up. His brother and his teammate go past him. But in classic Marquez fashion, he dives up the inside into the last corner and takes the lead again. Right? He lost barely any time, but it was enough. And he had a similar thing in Argentina a couple of weeks ago. Similar corner, but it was to the left. Bike kicked him inwards. He had to come off the throttle. He lost the lead, but was able to get it back quite easily. He had his first big crash in the wet free practice 1 session. Nothing too scary. No injuries. Bike was relatively undamaged, but that's his first crash on the Ducati.
Yes. And again, coming into this race, having had a perfect year. Winning everything.
Fastest qualifier, top in practice sessions.
It must have been a surprise.
It must have come as a surprise.
To himself as well.
I mean, it was wet. It was really wet. He came on the curb. The bike just dropped. He was launched over the bike, but not far. A couple of other riders had the same incident at the next corner, so he was turn 2. I think it was Vinales was turn 3, but not good at all. But at lap, what lap was it? I had it written down somewhere. It wasn't 9. Yeah, about halfway through, he just comes into that first Maggots and Beckett's looking section. So what would it be? Turn 1, 2, 3, 4. Right-hander. Gets it on the curb a little from the camera shot. That's what it looks like. And the bike just goes down. The bike goes sailing across the apex of turn 5 into the apex of turn 6. So cut across. nearly takes his teammate out of the race. It went down on the right-hand side, which is where the peg is for the brake pedal, rear brake pedal. Rear brake pedal came off, peg came off, bike fairing torn apart, all those aero bits that Ducati spent millions of dollars on, gone. Fair credit to him, man. He got back on the bike. He continued racing for a good couple of laps. He kept looking down because he couldn't quite figure out where to put his foot because now the peg's gone. No rear brakes whatsoever, which most of the time they're not using their rear brakes. The rear brake is more for stability coming out of a corner, and you might use it when you're at the apex of a corner to turn the bike sharper. But most of the braking comes from the front brake anyway. I'm retired, and it's not like Marc to retire. He doesn't ever give up. So
no,
and his teammate won the race.
Clearly uncomfortable. His teammate won the race. Alex Marquez came second.
You're gonna try and say his name now, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm not. And then
Digi Antonio.
That is a lot of. It's a cool looking name.
Yeah.
So this then propels Alex to the top of the championship by a point.
Yeah, because Alex has finished second in everything.
Yeah.
So far.
Consistency is key.
So last year, and I know you don't know much about bikes, but last year, Jorge Martin, who is set to come back, I think, at the next race, he was actually there because I don't know exactly where he's from, and I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong, but he was at the race. He's set to come back from injury soon, reigning world champion. Francesco Bagnaia, or Pecco Bagnaia, lost last year's championship, not because he didn't win as many races, because he won more races.
Yeah.
He equaled the all-time record for number of race wins in a season. But he didn't win because he kept coming off the bike.
Yeah.
And when he was either winning or off the bike.
Yeah.
Consistency is key. You know, Alex Marquez has never won a Grand Prix.
No.
He's won a sprint, but he's never won a Grand Prix. But he's currently leading the championship.
Yeah, so he was quite saying that their focus is to extract more potential from their package, maintain that championship lead, but importantly, as we've been talking about, maximizing consistency.
Yeah.
Taking, quotes, each race at a time.
Yeah, because they're running the same bikes.
Yeah.
So Alex and Marc are running the same bikes, as is Bagnaia, Digi Antonio, and his teammate, Morbidelli, I think. Oh, I'm really testing my knowledge. They're all running the same bike. So in principle, their package is the same, but it's how they set it up. It's how they work with it, because every rider is slightly different. Some riders want more turn in. Some riders want more stability on the way out. Some riders like higher aero so that they can get faster through the high speed corners, so on and so on. But in principle, they're running the same bikes. So he could win. All of this is academic though, because Jorge Martin is going to come back. He's not riding a Ducati anymore. He's riding an Aprilia, but he's going to win everything. I promise you. I promise you. That man is a machine. So he calls himself the Martinator after the Terminator because he says he's just relentless. I can see it. Yeah. Honestly.
Well, Marc Marquez is still positive, dubbing that now there is, quotes, simply a new championship starting with that 1 point difference. He was disappointed. His crash, he said, occurred, quotes, at the easiest moment in the race. He was controlling things.
He was 3-4 seconds in the lead.
And just lost it.
Which, in bike terms, is huge.
Yeah. And he's simply just hungry to recover and feels quick. So I'm sure, or it looks as if he'll bounce back relatively comfortably.
Yeah. WEC. I know not a lot about WEC, the World Endurance Championship. What I do know about WEC is that it's on at stupid times in the day.
Well, it's on for so long as well. These are not quick races.
These are not quick races.
They're enduring.
I know that their highlights on YouTube are often longer than a Formula One race, which is interesting. And I know that there are only 8 races in a season,
Yes,
which
much shorter.
surprises me. I also know, because I had to look this up, that there are certain races that are not included in the World Endurance Championship, but are World Endurance Championship events.
Yeah.
Those are the 24 Hours of Daytona, which is
Yeah.
often at the start of the year. We've already had it.
Yeah.
The 24 Hours of Spa, which is usually around the same weekend as the F1 turn up, because Spa is a nightmare for weather.
Yeah.
And the 24 Hours of Nürburgring. And that is around the full Nürburgring, if I'm not mistaken. The full 27 kilometers or whatever it is, 27 miles. I'm not sure which unit to use. I know they're not the same.
Yeah, I think kilometers are in Germany. So
I think it's probably kilometers. I also know that the World Endurance Championship is I don't want to say the phrase dumping ground, but it is a dumping ground for former Formula One drivers and a certain Moto GP champion.
yes, yeah. So 15 drivers have made the transition from F1 into WEC. The most recent that will be most familiar to people is Kevin Magnussen, as we spoke about earlier. Recent father.
Yep.
Once more time to spend at home, moves to a championship.
But also just can't let go of racing.
Right? No, can't.
Mick Schumacher as well.
Mick Schumacher went as well. Robert Kubica after his...
How many of those names did you recognize, by the way? Because I know your Formula One experience is not huge.
Come on, I'm not that clueless. But, and the...
I bet Will Stevens really threw you.
Will Stevens felt like, a
distant memory.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Valentino Rossi is the GP driver.
Yep. So he's at BMW in the GT3 cars.
Yep.
So not even competing at the top, which is interesting for Valentino.
Yes, because he was so successful.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he was successful on 2 wheels, right? And I don't know why, if he was so interested in endurance racing, he didn't do endurance bike racing. Because they do exist. And it is wild to watch them hop off and onto a bike while they're refilling it with fuel. And it's wild.
Yeah, it looked cool. But why is there such a overlap?
It's a great question, Tim, and I'm glad you asked it. So this one I did actually know the answer to. I didn't have to look this up because I am a bit of a noob in this area. So there's a couple of reasons. The first one is it may not be the pinnacle of motorsport as Formula One is considered, but it sure is the pinnacle of motorsport as far as manufacturers are considered.
Absolutely, yeah.
So just a few manufacturers that are in there: Ferrari, Porsche, BMW, Cadillac,
Aston now,
Mercedes in the GT3 cars, Ford used to be.
Well, and there are the heritage stories that have since been transitioned into big films. The Ford Ferrari 66 fight, the birth of the GT.
If you're planning on developing a sports car for the road, you are probably interested in GT3.
Yep.
If you are interested in developing a supercar, hypercar for the road, you are probably interested in the hypercar series. Even though they are completely alien to what hypercars are, a lot of the mechanical bits are the same.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in building a car, you're interested in WEC.
Exactly.
Is that fair to say?
I agree.
Right. So it won't be long before Kia, Hyundai, Honda.
I'm excited. Well, Toyota had a big presence.
Toyota had a huge presence.
They
I mean, they're still there, but they had a huge presence. Yeah, you're right. They were the dominant force for a long time.
Yeah.
The other one is other series that have more sporadic calendars. So F2, Formula E, Rally, other endurance series, touring cars that are very seasonal. They encourage their drivers to go do this during the off season because it's good for them. It's good to keep the reflexes there. It's good to try different cars, learn new techniques, meet other drivers, race other drivers, right? You know, a Formula One is very much within its own bubble. And Formula One drivers know how to race against Formula One drivers, but not necessarily how to deal with traffic from slower cars.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what's the big story?
The big story is current reigning Formula E champion, Pascal Wehrlein, which is another name you might sound familiar with from Formula One. Remember Verlaine? Didn't do very much.
No.
Not a big name.
Did not
in Formula
make a
One.
big impact.
He was a Mercedes junior driver, though. That was supposed to be exciting, but so was Russell, so never mind. He is joining the Porsche Penske Motorsport team. So Porsche Penske is a name that might be familiar to you. Penske, big in the States, big in NASCAR, big in IndyCar.
Very big in NASCAR.
Porsche, big in Europe, big in WEC. To do Le Mans, which is interesting. The race. So I don't know why he's so interested in Le Mans.
Because everyone's interested in Le Mans.
Yeah, but people are interested because they are after the Triple Crown.
I know.
And he hasn't done IndyCar. And if he thinks his Formula E Monaco Grand Prix win is a Monaco Grand Prix win, then he is greatly mistaken because it is not. But he's joining Felipe Nasr, another F1 name you might remember.
Absolutely.
Was his teammate at Sauber, actually, which is interesting.
That's lovely.
That's a nice reunion. And a name that wasn't familiar to me, Nick Tandy. So Nick has won Le Mans, Daytona, Spa, and Nürburgring, the big four, 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. That's quite a CV list. So he's the experience.
The only one.
Nasr is apparently quite quick, which makes a change from his F1 days.
Wow.
Oh, come on. He was never very quick in Formula One, but apparently he's quite quick. So that is about the same time as the Monaco Grand Prix, if I remember correctly. It's like Le Mans and then Monaco and the Indy 500. They are the Triple Crown, but they are all around the same time.
It's all together.
Usually not on the same weekend because they're both really in France. And that would be quite problematic for the French in general.
Yeah, it's a lot to put these.
It's a lot to put these events on.
So have some time.
Yeah. So I don't know too much about WEC. So I'm not gonna pretend like I do. But we've got 2 races until Le Mans.
2.
So 6 hours of Imola and 6 hours of Spa.
Correct.
Then it's Le Mans.
Yeah.
Then I think it's the 24 hours of Spa, but that's not included in their calendar. But it just is. And then it's the 6 hours of Sao Paulo, the Le Mans of Kota, which I thought was quite interesting. The Lone Star Le Mans. So is that 24 hours at Kota? It must be. I couldn't find it on there.
Well, it's not on there. It doesn't count. So it's not.
No.
On the websites.
The 6 hours of Fuji and the 8 hours of Bahrain. That's the end of the season. So they are long races.
Yes.
I think the Qatar one, which isn't a time, it's a distance. But I think that was also about 5 hours.
Yeah, that was 12 kilometers.
Yeah. Still huge.
Massive.
Yeah.
So I can give a quick rundown as to what happened. That's the race in Qatar is the only one to have been completed so far.
Yep.
Ferrari struggled, but managed to pull a 1-2-3 in the opening race of the season. So quite polar to the results in the F1 season.
It's weird how they can keep that strategy going for like
5.5 hours.
But as soon as a 1.5 hour F1 race rolls around, they're like, what do we do?
They remain confident in their package as they look to return back into their home soil for the Imola race over the Easter weekend. Porsche, reigning champions in WEC, struggled a lot. They tried to ignite their defense hopes, but had big problems with tire and brake wear, despite the car feeling very good at times. So a very mixed bag, didn't perform as well as they expected. BMW, this is all in hypercar, by the way. BMW made...
That's the only one that matters anyway.
Oh, ouch. BMW hail a massive, in their words, quotes, a huge step forward, advancing comfortably to the pole shootout in qualifying, lining up eventually 2nd and 6th. But intimidated by the Ferraris, it was hard to compete on the road. And after a messy race, finished in P4. Mm-hmm. It was reported, they said that last year they were lapped 3 times in 1 or 2 hours, but P4 shows huge progress,
Huge.
which was Mr. Vanthor. Magnussen completed his first race in Qatar, and he says, in many ways, WEC is tougher than F1, but notably is enjoying a more collaborative approach with teammates instead of them, quotes, being a fierce competitor. It is, of course, a lot more collaborative.
Yep.
Newcomers Aston, which we mentioned briefly when we spoke about their Formula One.
Yeah, so this is a track version of their Valkyrie.
Correct, yeah, which I think still looks
Stunning.
like a spaceship.
Absolutely
It's
stunning.
awesome.
Yeah.
They were very happy. They didn't place
Happy.
brilliantly, but they were confident in their package.
Are you sure they were happy? Did you see what happened to them?
Well, I say happy. They learnt a lot.
They had a door fly off.
Well, doors are hard, okay? You have to worry about that in an F1 car.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about doors in a Formula One car. No, you're absolutely correct.
But they're confident in their abilities to fight as the season progresses.
Okay.
Their main takeaway or their main objectives for the week were to take away or learn some things, learning about the car, learning about the team. Where do we sit now? How are we going to develop those things through the season? I also love the fact that their car is appropriately named 007.
Yeah.
Which is epic. TF Sport lead the LMGT3 with a nice clean drive, but the main story from that championship was a huge recovery from P14 to a podium P3 for the Ben team, which was the BMW LMGT3 team.
Yep.
Which, in their words, felt like a win. Absolutely understandable.
Yeah.
From that perspective.
Aston didn't have a better weekend than Jota. Did you see what happened with their cars?
I did not.
They drove into each other at the safety car restart. Jenson Button drove in the back of his teammate who was leading the way, who inexperienced and slammed on the brakes under the safety car. And they had to do a double pit stop, lost lots of body work. Everybody was bunched up under the safety car. It was not good. No. So at least, losing a door is one thing. Driving into your teammate is a different thing.
Very different thing.
Yeah.
And much worse thing.
Far worse.
But an exciting first race. And as I said, over the Easter weekend is the next one in Imola.
Yeah, I'm going to try and watch. Me too. I think watching 30, 40 cars try and race around a very tight, old school...
I mean, Imola is a scary circuit when you've got...
Scary circuit, yeah.
20
F1 cars on there, yeah. Never mind.
I feel like track limits are going to be...
Yeah, and they're big on that too.
That big chicane through through Sector 2, that's going to be spicy.
Big time.
But that's it.
That's it. Okay, cool.
There we go. That's the first few weeks of the season in the three
covered
main, I say main championships.
Yeah.
But
so we're going to try and do this every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think it would be good to have a decent chunk of material to chew through, slightly longer format, allow for a bit more consideration.
To form as
and
well.
Exactly. Also, I think rushing to report.
We are not reactive people.
No, we are not. But it's nice to let a story breathe.
Yeah,
and then approach it objectively as an entirety.
Yep.
As opposed to reacting.
Yeah, that's my plan. Okay, cool.
That's it. Nice.
So thanks for listening, everybody. This has been Ahead at the Apex, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.